Hey everybody, welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. Today is episode 183 entitled Awakening to Adventures and Anniversaries. And my name is Steve, but I am not alone. I'm also joined by Barry. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey Steve, always a pleasure.
It is, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you as well. We'll be talking with Greg as usual, but he's unfortunately running a little late tonight too. We'll talk a little bit later about future plans and everything, because we may be making some adjustments and everything that in our schedule, our recording schedule, to accommodate for all that and everything. But we'll get to that later on in the podcast. Right now, we just want to thank you guys for joining us. We have several people in the chat and live chats. We'd love to interact with you guys throughout the entire recording of the podcast. So if you are joining us live, make sure that you do just toss all your ideas about all the stuff that we talk about there in the chat. We love interacting with you guys throughout the entire show. But if you're listening later, that's okay. You can throw your comments down there on YouTube or tweet us and Facebook us and all that other stuff as well. We're on all the social media, and you can also chat with us on Discord. We have a growing Discord, and Barry's been like setting everything up, getting a lot of developers in there. So if you want to chat with some of the indie developers, we got some people in there as well that you can talk with about who make the games, not just who play the games. And so it's a great site. All those links and everything are going to be on our show notes and the description down below here on YouTube. And we would love for you guys to join in the chat between the shows. So let's jump in, as always, with what we've been playing lately. Barry, Greg's not here yet. Barry, what have you been playing lately?
Well, since the last podcast, I finished Astral Chain, at least as much as I'm going to. I'm not going to do all 71 of the files in the last, or 71 of the missions in the last file. It just feels more like busy work at this point, but it is a fantastic game and definitely something I would recommend. If you like action games, you should try it. Then I had a little bit of time, and we were talking in a previous podcast about the Mana series. And Steve, you actually talked about Final Fantasy Adventure, how much time you put into that, and I hadn't played that game in years since the original and then the Sword of Mana. So I went back to it, and I went through. It took me a couple days, about 2 days, and I beat it, and I forgot just how involved that game is for a Game Boy game. Like, I had to look up a few things because there's a little bit of cryptic early translation in that. But yeah, It is a great game. It's something I definitely recommend. I definitely recommend the Collection of Mana by far. If you like Zelda, if you like Final Fantasy, you should play this. But so I went and did that, and that took me until Daemon Ex Machina launched. So I was able to continue my demo file there, and I'm only ranked C at this point. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted, and I actually got hung up on a few missions. I'm actually hung up on a mission now involving a train. You have to try to protect it, and the enemies that are trying to destroy it are right on top of it, and it's one of those that I might have to grind a little bit, but it is a lot better than I expected. Like, if you like action, even if you're not really a big fan of mech games, just action games where you could fly in 360 degrees and blast things to bits, it's a lot of fun. I actually did some online, which is against the giant bosses with 4 people total, and that was a lot of fun. Like, it ran smoothly. It was just cool to just have everyone do their own thing. There was, of course, no voice chat, and a lot of the people I was with were Japanese. But it's definitely something I would love to play with some more, English-speaking, people that I can actually say, like, I'll get on Discord or something and just coordinate some strikes, and it was a lot of fun. And then, of course, I put that on hold for Link's Awakening, which technically I could beat right now. I can just go right to Nightmare and beat it. I have 100% everything, except I'm still doing the Dampe's, the chamber dungeons. So I'm just trying to finish up getting the last of those the stone slabs. I think that's 14 in all. I think I'm at 9. I got to buy a few more from the shop. They're kind of expensive. So I'm just going through the dungeons now, the chamber dungeon now to unlock all the slabs. But otherwise, 100% of it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
We'll get into it a little later.
We'll get into that a little bit. But,
a big portion of our show today is going to be dedicated to Link's Awakening.
Well,
for
yes,
sure.
that's just what I've done. I've also, of course, Dragalia Lost, the anniversary, the 1-year anniversary is this week, and looking forward to seeing what they do with that. So I just been everything they throw at us, I've been tackling, and actually yesterday was the first day I completely did nothing in Pokemon Go. Did something today, but when I realized I didn't do anything, it didn't really hurt me much. Like it's just a chore at this point. And of course, I know if I don't mention it, Jakester will probably be like, "You didn't do it, Barry." But yes, of course, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14 at this point. That game's actually kind of in a lull. I'm just going through dailies to level up other jobs. But that's usually what happens with MMOs. As an expansion, then there's a little bit of a lull, and then a patch. And this new patch is going to bring in some Nier Automata stuff, so it's probably going to bring a lot of members back, and ebb and flow of MMOs, the usual.
Nice. So I haven't read that much about but I know that there's some issues around Daemon Ex Machina. Like, what are people having issues with, and do you agree with them? Like, all I know is that people have had some mixed reviews about the game, and I feel like there's probably some issues, but I haven't actually looked into it whatsoever.
I haven't, outside of like some weird difficulty spikes, and a lot of that. If you've ever played any type of loot-based role-playing game, if you come to a point where a boss beats you, you usually have to go back and grind and get different loot or level up a little bit. And this game doesn't have level ups in that sense. But you can replay missions as many times as you want. And when you beat any other mech enemies, not like the standard drones, but the mech enemies, you can loot them. And you could pick one item from what they have, and they'll show you if something is new. And it's not guaranteed 100% every time. So like if a particular weapon drops from one enemy in a mission, you might have to run it a couple times to get it. But so if you just go mission, you loot what you get, you might get lucky and you can keep going, or you might hit a snag and say, okay, well, maybe I'll farm and try to get some better gear, especially because there's multiple builds with the actual armor. So like you can get more durability, but you're a little slower, or you could have more land or air speed, but your durability is a little less. And it's noticeable. Like if you have a speed build and you get hit, like you could lose 60% of your life in one shot. Whereas if you have a durability build, you might lose 5% with the same hit. So it is noticeable. And of course, there's different weapons in addition to just like machine guns. There's like bazookas, there's different missiles, there's swords, there's a bunch of, there's a flamethrower. So if one setup doesn't work, you can just instantly change your gear setup and go back. So what people have a problem with, I don't know. I know the story is a little bit disconnected. I know it's a little hard to follow. It definitely has a good premise, and there's a lot it's trying to say. But honestly, I don't know what the real problem is with it, because I'm having a blast. And it almost reminds me of a game, this is going to date myself, a game called Forsaken. It was on the PlayStation 1 and the N64, which was kind of like it had like a death battle mode, and you were like this flying ship, and instead of just an arena, it was a three-dimensional arena, not just like 3D like Mario 64 running, but no, like there's like rooms above you and rooms below you, and you could literally just dive or go up and spin 360 degrees while you're trying to do this death match, and it was a lot of fun. Single player was also really good. So it kind of reminds me of that, because sometimes enemies will go up or down, and you could turn on a dime. Like it's not like, Star Fox, like an enemy gets past you, hold on, I got to do a U-turn, or I got to take this big turn. Like you could literally just turn around and just attack. I honestly don't know. It's a lot of fun, and I think people need to try the demo. Like if you haven't tried it and you're like see these reviews and you're like, oh, I don't know if it's good or not, try the demo. You get the first 8 missions for free, and if you like it, you get the game. You could continue. I don't know. I really enjoy the game.
Cool. Awesome. I do want to draw attention to Jakester in the chat. He said he's been streaming Link's Awakening and Xenoblade 2 and Lego Batman 3. So that's pretty awesome that you got some time with that. And there was also another comment I wanted to bring up. He called you old. So you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm the oldest one here. You know, it's what happens.
It's actually, are you older than me? I don't know.
I am.
We are. Oh, okay. Okay.
82.
I was born in 82.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
maybe not.
You may. I don't know.
My birthday is actually going to be right after the next podcast.
Ah, yes, you got me by a couple months.
All right, there you go.
Anyway, I have been playing. What have I been playing? I have been playing some Link's Awakening and everything. I have not played nearly as much as I had hoped because, unfortunately, yesterday, like in the afternoon, I was moving some wood and had a lot of like dust and sawdust flying in the air, and some of it landed in my eye, and I totally scratched my eye. And so the rest of all day yesterday, I was in such much pain. I couldn't look at anything, or do anything. I was really bummed because I was hoping to spend some more time with Link's Awakening, but there was no way. So I pretty much just laid in bed the rest of the time, just trying to rest my eye and everything. Finally, like right now, I was actually not sure if I'd even be able to do the podcast tonight because even earlier today, I was like, I don't feel very good. So luckily, I'm doing well and everything. So glad I could, and maybe I'll get some more time with Link's Awakening later tonight after the podcast. Let's see, what else have I been playing? I've been playing, of course, Rocket League. Not as much as I would have hoped recently, because I've also been trying to get in some other time. I did a review for Astro Bears on our site, so if you've not checked that out, there was Astro Bears Party that released like 2 years ago. And so Astro Bears is kind of like the update version of it. So if you have Astro Bears Party, you can actually download with... you can, kind of like it, but not quite as painful as Talking with the Bees. I played that a little more to get the review and everything done. Have you played Astro Bears at all, Barry? It's an interesting game. It's basically like, you know, the old game of Snake. Yeah. And so it's like Snake, but in a 3D environment, kind of like Mario Galaxy. And so you're going around these spheres, and then you can either compete with other people or you can compete against other people online. Not like at the same time. You have to be local multiplayer, or you're competing for high score online, and that's it. So there's no like cooperative or competitive play online at the same time, which is basically means that the game is somewhat fun, but it's very, very limited. But it's like $7. So I don't know. So my review basically says if this sort of thing, you know, if it really interests you, it's maybe worth the $7. They're trying to get in the competitive scene and everything with it. But yeah, if you don't have anybody to play locally with this game, it's actually probably a waste of your time because there's very, very little you can do single player in this game.
That sucks. See, I hate games like that. I like a good single player.
Yeah.
Like I like multiplayer too, but if a game doesn't have a good single player, to me it's a coaster. Like at the end of the day, it's just going to be a coaster.
Yeah, for sure. Another game I played, I downloaded this a while back. I think sometime earlier in the summer. I think because it was really, really cheap one week. It's called Transcripted. Have you heard of Transcripted at all? It is a very boring game. It is so boring. I recorded it and I was like, oh wow. It's normally I think like $7.99. So I'm a big fan of twin stick shooters, as we've talked about before. I love Geometry Wars and stuff like that. And so I saw that it was a twin stick shooter, and I'm also a fan of match 3 games. And so this game basically puts the twin stick shooter and the match 3 together. It sounds interesting, and I felt like it was probably worth my $2 or $3 or whatever I spent on it on sale. No, it's like not very fast-paced at all. Like there's a storyline apparently to this, and I about fell asleep because it just goes on and on and on and drones on. The cool thing is it is voice acted, so they have voices going on, but they're just like pictures on the screen when they're talking. But it is fully voiced. But it's just it drones on, and I got bored, and yeah. But I made it through like a few levels, and I was like, no, I'm moving on to back to Link's Awakening or something like that. So, so yeah, don't try Transcripted. Not very fun whatsoever. But anyhow, so Greg's not here, so we'll get his impressions of what he's been playing recently when he finally gets here. But before we jump into any of the main discussion points, all the news and everything tonight, we want to wish a very happy birthday to Nintendo, celebrating 130 years. Barry, where do you hope to be in 130 years?
Well,
speaking of birthdays earlier.
Realistically, I mean, I'm probably going to be 6 feet under like every single person that is listening to this podcast in 130 years. But the fact that they're 130 years old and that I think only like 3/4 have posted a loss, which was during the Wii U days, in 130 years is incredible. It's incredible. Like, this is a company that easily could be around another 130.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's crazy to and to see like where they come from over the years too, to like, you know, the toy companies and cards and all these different iterations that they've changes and stuff that they made over the years, and you've got a lot of it in your own house, of all the things they've made over those 130 years.
Actually, speaking of, for the 130th, I thought I'd actually show something
cool
that I thought was really cool. So this is actually really cool because this is from 1983. All right, this is something created, of course, by the great and late Gunpei Yokoi, father of the Game Boy, the Virtual Boy, the Wonder Swan. So this is, a lot of people think like the Game Boy was actually the first system that actually linked together, and that would be false, because the first thing that actually was this, which is Computer Mahjong Yakumen. Now, this was only released in Japan from 1983. This is a literally handheld game of Mahjong that they sold a link cable to. And it shows it here. And it is just really, really cool to see, because this is only 3 years after the Game & Watch started. This is 6 years before the Game Boy would ever come into fruition. And unlike the Game & Watch, this never came to America. Mahjong is just not as big over here, of course. But yeah, I just thought this was just a cool little piece of technology, and it's definitely early, Nintendo getting into electronics. Of course, they did toys and cards and all this other stuff. So yeah, I just thought I'd show that off for the 130th. Nice.
That's really awesome. And speaking of 130th birthday, hey Greg, I mean, what? No, that doesn't make sense at all. It's not your 130th birthday. But hey Greg, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for recognizing my birthday.
You look so good for 130.
I know, right?
Greg, what?
Revitalize my logo just a number of times, right?
Yeah, there you go. 130 years. Nintendo celebrating 130 years. Greg, what are your thoughts about 130 years in business?
It's obviously very incredible. I mean, there's not too many companies around that have made that accomplishment, obviously, since they weren't around that long, since a lot of the older companies have obviously gone under, transitioned, changed names and all of that, but that's still pretty awesome that there's a company today that's really been around that long, and they've managed to stick through the times and change focus over time. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you guys discussed how they started with cards and now they're in video games, so it's like they've come quite a long way. So,
for sure. Yeah, Jakester mentioned that he remembers his mom's friends would talk about playing Mahjong. He still never got to play it. I've never actually played the real Mahjong. Like, I played the tile, like the matching thing that is like fake Mahjong, I guess.
Solitaire.
Like basically solitaire, yeah. But I've not played like real Mahjong ever. It seems really complicated. Yeah.
My grandmother played Mahjong with a group of other ladies till she was 92 years old, I think, or 91, 92. So yeah,
it's the key to living long. Nintendo and your grandma. There you go.
Well, see, I mean, we have like poker over here in China and Japan. It's Mahjong, so it's the same kind of popularity.
Nice. Nice. And we're also celebrating today is not only Nintendo's 130th anniversary, but we recently celebrated the year anniversary of Nintendo Online service. So Nintendo Online, it's had its ups and downs. We finally are getting, I think, most of the things that we were promised at the very beginning of it, a year later. But what are your thoughts about Nintendo's online service for this first year, Barry?
I mean, I'm not unhappy that I subscribed for a year. I think that it definitely needs work. Games like Smash Brothers are prime examples of really needing work, especially with 4 people. However, I mentioned earlier that I did Daemon Ex Machina with 4 people, or 3 other people, and was smooth, was great, had a lot of fun. So I think it varies, and I need a little bit more consistency. See, like, this was okay down in the Wii U era, or the Wii era, because it was free online. But now that we're paying for it, it really needs to be better in that regards. The NES games are nice. It took them a year to add Super Nintendo. Now it's more of a value. I'm glad they didn't up the price. I think if they upped the price, it would have been a harder thing to swallow. I am kind of mad that you can't. This is just like with their pricing plan, but you can't use the cards you get, like the 12-month subscription, like Amazon giving you a 12-month subscription. You can't use that with a family plan, and I think that needs to be fixed. Even if they said, all right, well, only 6 months with a family plan, like that would still be acceptable. But I think it's kind of slapping the people with family plan in the face. Like, oh yeah, here's this great thing, but you can't take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. And the people with the family plan are actually paying more than the regular subscribers, so why should we get punished for it?
Yeah, that's true. Greg, what do you think?
I think it's definitely come a long way. I mean, as someone that didn't really even use it a lot in the first year, I mean, I certainly don't think I got my money's worth, but now that the games that I would be playing online, Mario Maker, is there, it certainly feels like I've gotten a lot more value over like the last few months than I did like the entire year. So yeah, as Barry was saying, it started off pretty nice, or not, I guess nice, but like it had like the NES games to kind of hold us over, and it seemed for a while they had a number of good ones, but then I feel like the games that have been added more recently are kind of tailored off in terms of quality and ones of people that would want anyways. So, but yeah, it's nice to have Super Nintendo, and hopefully we'll get Nintendo 64 next year.
I don't know.
We can hope.
Be interesting. And then what happens to Doom 64?
Well, I mean, Doom 64 wouldn't be there, just like Secret of Mana is not going to be on the Super Nintendo, and because there's a collection already, and I mean that's fine.
Just certain ones get to get released on there, and other ones don't. I guess it's very similar.
Mega Man 1 to 6.
Right, it's very similar to even like what the Xbox and the PlayStation offer, especially the Xbox Game Pass and everything. Not all games are on there and stuff. So it would be interesting to see how it changes over time. And everything to see
how frequently they add games.
Yeah, especially now that they're not doing it monthly. We'll see.
Yeah.
So let's see. Jake's still bummed that there's not Earthbound on there. I'm interested in what they do there. If they ever release that on there, if that will be a package thing or a
trilogy.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. Yeah. All right, so let's jump into some of the news discussion and everything. We're gonna get into Link's Awakening later, so we're just gonna tease that just a little bit. We're gonna jump into a couple other news pieces before we jump into Link's Awakening. And so first of all, the Switch Lite just came out the same day as Link's Awakening. So you can get your Switch Lite, you get your Link's Awakening, and you can go and play for 4 or 5 hours because the battery's longer and everything. Did either of you guys pick up a Switch Lite at all? I'm seeing a head shaking from no from both of you. Neither did I. But I hear good things about it though, and I don't know. What do you think, Barry?
I hear good things about it in terms of battery life, in terms of the screen resolution looks great because it's a little bit smaller, that it's comfortable, that people are really enjoying it. But at the same time, I'm now seeing reports that the left stick drift is still there, and it's more of a problem when it's on the Switch Lite because it is connected. And I've also heard people complaining about the D-pad. The D-pad is not really that great, and for games like Ultra Street Fighter 2 on the Switch, it's not really that great compared to like the Pro Controller, and that's a problem.
That's unfortunate because I think the early first impressions that I was watching from people were saying that they felt like the buttons actually felt better than the Pro Controller.
But the regular buttons.
The regular buttons. D-pad. Man, that's too bad.
The regular buttons are actually bigger. That's why.
Ah, okay. That's interesting. Greg, why didn't you get one?
Well, I already have this perfectly awesome launch day system that does exactly what I need it to do. So, yeah, that's kind of concerning to hear if the buttons aren't work, or like the Joy-Con drift thing is still happening. That's not a good thing. It seems like they still haven't figured out that this is still happening for some people. Yeah, that's kind of a shame.
Yeah, that's really too bad. And it kind of makes me glad that I did hold off, because watching a lot of the early first impressions and all the unboxings and everything, I was actually really tempted, because it looks like it's like great looking system and everything. If I do get one, I think I'm going to hold off for the Pokemon Special Edition, if I do end up getting one at all. It was cool to see that you can use the same account on both. You can't play the games at the same time, and you can't, even if you play one game on one system, you can't play any game on that same account on the other system. But it is cool that they do have that, and the cloud syncing for the backups and everything seem to be working pretty well. And so if you did want to have one as a dedicated home console and you wanted to take one on the go, it seems like that's fairly possible, which is cool, because that was really surprising for me to hear that's the case, which was one of the reasons why I was like, maybe that it would be worth, because it's smaller and it's lighter, it fits in my bag. And I was like, no, Steve, you don't need another Switch. But that Pokemon Special Edition one looks pretty sweet. So I don't know. So, are you guys going to be getting one at all?
Yes, I have to.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you got to get one for your handheld collection. You got to make room for that.
Well, yeah, because Barry's museum, he's got to have one of everything.
I do. In fact, thankfully, I haven't built the Nintendo display yet, but I do have the schematics, and I got to figure out if I can weasel the Switch Lite in there now, because technically that counts as a handheld.
That's true. Greg, do you think you're ever going to get one?
Most likely not, I don't think, but I don't know. I don't really see a need to get one. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Never say never. So it's
true.
Your daughter, get her one.
That's what I was thinking. Yep. Once your daughter gets old enough, she needs her own Switch, so she can play Paw Patrol and get better and then beat you. Yeah.
Yeah, and on her own system.
Yeah. There you go. Nice. Yeah, I think for a dedicated handheld system, it is pretty cool. I'm glad they made it. I'm still interested, of course, in the Pro, if it ever comes around or whatever. Honestly, the thing that I am tempted a lot by is buying the new Switch that has the better battery life and everything too, because mine's already cracked, on the top from the overheating and everything, and I really like the idea of better battery life. So I was like, if I'm gonna buy one, I think I'd rather get the red box edition of the new Switch instead of getting a Switch Lite. So
yeah, that's probably what I would do if I wanted the better battery life. I mean,
that's true. You play on the go a lot.
Docked.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Barry, it doesn't matter, but for Greg, who plays mostly on the go, that's pretty tempting, I'm sure.
Yeah, just not $300 tempting.
Well, you can sell your old one. All right, so let's move.
After I transfer everything off of it.
That's true as well. Let's move on, because there was we talked about this, I think, on our last podcast, right? There was a really weird promo video that Nintendo posted just a couple weeks ago, and just before, I think, our last episode, and we had no idea what it was all about. There's some sort of ring attachment, and there was this leg strap, and you put your Joy-Cons in it. Not usable, of course, by the Switch Lite, unless you want to get additional Joy-Cons and attach it, and then And then we found out that I think it was on the 12th, I think it was October 12th, that they finally released, September 12th, that they finally released information. And all I can say is that they had some of the best actors in the world showing off the what we now know as Ring Fit Adventure. So I don't know if these people have ever played a video game in their entire life, or have they ever acted. But anyway, they gleefully showed off a kind of a fitness adventure game is basically what it is. And so you do use the 2 Joy-Cons. You put one in this ring. You put one in a leg strap on your left leg, and you hold the ring. And it's called the Ring Con. And it basically tracks all the force that you put on the ring, and it tracks movement. And you essentially go through an adventure game with your Ring Con and your leg strap. And which is interesting that they didn't come up with a special name for the leg strap, leg con or something. I don't know. The Ring Con and the leg strap. I don't know. But anyway, so you can jog in place, and you can do yoga poses, and you can do different arm movements and squeezes and all these different things as attacking motions to progress through your adventure. So it's kind of like an RPG fitness game, which is really interesting. But in spite of all the bad way they showed it off and all this other stuff, it does kind of seem interesting. Leave it up to Nintendo to make a fitness RPG game that I am actually intrigued by and I kind of want to get. So, Greg, what do you think about all this? Because I know last time you hadn't got a chance to see the weird trailer. So, did you get a chance to check it all out and you know what Ring Fit Adventure is all about?
Yeah, I guess you weren't paying attention in our aftermath when I actually watched it, and I was like, "Oh, this reminds me of a lot like the Wii Fit kind of first."
Right. But you got a chance to watch the final product, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did watch their formal introduction and got to see that Emmy award-winning acting skills.
Yeah.
I've never seen any more people being able to act like that. But with all of that, an interesting concept. I mean, I don't know if it's something for me. I mean, I've been kind of contemplating it, but I never really played a lot of the Wii Fit games previously. But I don't know. It's something I might consider asking for like Christmas or something, but it's not something I'm like running out to like, oh, I have to go get this day one. This is like the best thing ever. But I don't know. I don't know.
Nice.
It's the best way to sum it up, really.
I don't really know about this. October 18th. It's like right around the corner. It's going to be here. Barry, you getting this? I mean, I know you're getting it, of course, but are you excited about getting it?
Actually, I kind of am. Yeah. It's weird. I showed this to my wife after I watched it, and she's also very intrigued. And you know, who knows? This could work. I mean, this has me intrigued enough to at least give it a shot. Now, by me saying that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to give it a shot on October 18th. It means I hope to give it a shot at some point. She might play it before I do, in which case I would watch her and at least, if anything, watch the game through her, provided she even has time to play it. But yeah, it's very intriguing, and surprisingly, the reaction has been more positive. Like, I totally expected, like when Labo was shown off, like the internet tore it apart. And when this was shown off, I'm like, oh, the internet's going to tear it apart. And surprisingly, they didn't. Like, people were like, actually, this looks kind of cool, you know, like this is something different. Leave it to Nintendo. I mean, that's why they've been around 130 years. They're constantly innovating. They're constantly giving us things we want before we even know we want them.
That's so true.
They probably had some like analytics to see like which games on Wii Fit were more popular than others, and then they might have been able to like, hey, well, the ones that kind of do this is a little bit played a lot more frequently than some of the other ones on here. So maybe that's why they decided to tailor it more towards an actual adventure game and such. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Jakester's asking what else is coming on the 18th that you're going to be playing. Barry's going to be playing Ice Age Scrat's Nut Adventure. That's what he's going to be playing. That's also what comes on October 18th.
You know what? My wife loves Scratch, so who knows? That might be a competition.
Oh man. So I think here's the thing though. I want to know, like, tell us in the chat if you're listening live, you're watching live. Tell us after the fact on social media. You can throw it in the comments. We want to know, would it be worth? And I know people are going to be like, yes, because like it doesn't have anything to do with this, with them. But here's what I'm wondering. Mickey, who started our site, NintendoFuse, back as We Nintendo, so many years ago, back in 2006, he started off with a Wii Fit challenge, and then we did the Wii Fit U and all these different challenges over the years. And I want to know, is this a game that you think we should do some sort of like 30-day challenge with? And if we do, that's not just like you guys as listeners and watchers, you're like, oh yeah, you guys go and do that, and you just tell us how it all works out. I'm wondering if we should actually turn this into a community thing. Like, come together, those of us that get the game, we actually say, you know what, we're going to dedicate 30 days to this and actually see how much fun we'll have with it, and if we can actually get in better shape with it. What do you think?
What if we beat the game within 30 days? Or before 30 days?
Keep playing. That's why all the mini games, and you just keep going back to them over and over again. Greg, what do you think?
Well, as I said, I might be looking to ask for it for Christmas. So if we're looking to do it right when the game launches, it might not be the time for me to do it.
Yeah, honestly, the best time to do it would be probably after the Christmas season, when like Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon, like they're all out.
Oh,
done.
I was thinking you meant like after all the food we eat for Christmas and everything.
Oh, that works too. I'm talking when the gaming lull.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the time right after the New Year's resolution. That's we all do a Ring Fit Adventure contest together for our New Year's resolution on NintendoFuse. We'll see how it goes. So, but yeah, it's like $79.99. I think is that what the final price is? It's going to be $79.99. So that's that gets you all the 2 accessories and the game itself. So yeah, October 18th is right around the corner. Yeah, let us know what you guys think about this, and if we were to do some like community challenge, let us know if you would actually participate, and let us know. That'd be great. All right, let's move into the main event for today. Main event is Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, the remake. They're just calling it Link's Awakening, so it's kind of gets a little confusing because we're not talking about the Game Boy game. We're talking about the remake for the Nintendo Switch. And it's been on a whole 4 days now, if you count Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So a whole maybe 60 hours of game if you played non-stop, I guess. So what do you guys think about the game so far? Let's talk about our first impressions, kind of give just a little mini review, a little game chat right here in the podcast. So Greg, what do you think of the game so far? I'm assuming you've actually got some time to play it.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I actually had fired it up today, but
yeah,
that's kind of beside the point.
Just a little bit of time with it.
I did get pretty close to about an hour or so of playtime in it,
cool.
And the main thing off the top of my head is just like, my goodness, is it really beautiful? Like, I still remember the initial reveal. I was like, I don't know if I really like that art style, but I think obviously since then it really grew on me, all the trailers and everything since and coverage. And then now like playing it, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like so beautiful. I absolutely love this. And it was so incredible. I loved hearing like the Legend of Zelda theme, like right when you're like getting the sword and everything and adventuring in certain parts of the town. It's just so incredible. I've already done some of the played trendy games and won like the Yoshi doll and started the trade sequence and done some of the other things like around and just entered the first dungeon just as I was about to save to resume next time. So
nice. Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it for anyone that's never played it or anyone that just looking to replay it that played it on the original Game Boy. It's definitely a game worth experiencing.
Yeah. And just get me correct on this. You did not play it on the original Game Boy, is that right? Or you did?
I did, yeah.
You did, okay. I did not play it originally on the Game Boy. I played it when the Virtual Console versions. I did not have the original copy of it, but I played it since on the Virtual Console.
You didn't like it though.
I did not. No. And I'll talk about some of those things in just a bit. But first, I want to hear your first initial impressions there, Barry. How's it been going with your playtime?
I mean, I'll say this. The best thing about this game, in my opinion, is not the graphics. It's not the music. It's not the gameplay. It's not the dungeons. It's not the story. It's the fact that there are so many people out there that were born after 1993 that never got to experience this game. That maybe they started with Ocarina, maybe they started with Wind Waker or the Oracle games or Twilight Princess or even Skyward Sword or Breath of the Wild, and they never got to experience this game. And so many people, Ocarina of Time is the best, and Majora's Mask is the best, or Wind Waker, or Twilight Princess, or to me, ever since 1993, Link's Awakening has been my favorite. It has been my favorite over A Link to the Past, over the original, over every game that's come since, and I've played them all. And to see people talking about this game again, and like, oh my god, this game is amazing, this game is fantastic, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, I'm having more fun with this than Breath of the Wild. Like, it warms my heart, because so many people did not get to experience this. And yeah, it's a remake, and they've added a few things, and it's a fresh coat of paint, and it does look absolutely gorgeous. But to see people getting to experience such a classic, such a masterpiece, especially with a game that the story of its creation is actually almost as interesting, if not more interesting, than the actual game itself. And to me, that is the best part. Just, I love this game. I will always love this game. And it would be very hard for any Zelda game to top this in my number one. Even Breath of the Wild doesn't come close to the charm that this game has. And this version of the game oozes charm even more because of the art style. But yeah, like just booting up. Just the only thing, like, there are certain changes to the music. Like right at the beginning, I was a little irked. Like right after the CG cutscene happens, like first off, it's very quiet. The whole CG cutscene is quiet. Like, I know that was a stylistic choice, but I miss the ominous tone of the music there in the original. And then of course, when Marin is running across the beach to Link, in the original, there's music building up to the Zelda theme, which is absent again. And like, that was like my biggest negative is like when I was watching that, like, oh come on, where's the music? Like, where's the music that should be here? But outside of that, you need to play this.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I agree with all of you guys, what you said. Like the music, the art style, the charm, it's all there. I think one of the things that I've noticed, it's crazy, like, as I'm playing through, like, just the change of the art style from the old game is just so interesting, because it's so familiar but so new at the same time, and it's such a weird experience if you've never had that to play the old and to see the new. It's just it's hard to explain what I mean by that, but I'm sure you guys like understand what I'm talking about. It's just, it's so familiar but so brand new at the same time, and that's a really cool experience, just to be able to have that. And what I found myself, I don't know why, but I found myself realizing that I'm getting kind of confused between A Link to the Past and even A Link Between Worlds in this game, because of the similar art style. It's not exactly the same, but it's closer to the A Link Between Worlds a little bit. So I'm like, I get confused like where things are, and I keep forgetting like, oh, that's over here. Nope, that's the different game, because it's similar enough where I keep getting lost, I think, in that. But that's just my own problem. It has nothing to do with the game itself. It's just my own problem. More probably because I'm more familiar with those other games, and I actually do like them better, contrary to Barry. But here's one thing. So those of you guys that have been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that I didn't like the original control options, and there were limitations for the Game Boy. I understand, but I still didn't like it. So I like that you can have your sword and your shield already on you. It's always there. I like how you can assign 2 buttons to things. and I like how you can lift objects and all that stuff. I like all those things. Like when you run into a rock, no longer does it tell you you can't lift this right now. I love that. I love that they changed all that. But why do I have to get a stinking dialogue box every time I get an acorn or one of those other things? Every time it has to tell me what I get again. And like by the 17th millionth time, I know this allows me to be a little stronger. I know this allows me to not get damaged as much. Why do you have to tell me every time I pick it up? That's my one complaint about it. All the music stuff that you told me about, like, I'm okay with that. I don't know why I need to get told about every single time I pick one of those things up.
That's a nitpick if I've ever heard a nitpick. I mean,
it is, and I can get through the dialogue box faster than I could before, which is nice. But still, every time, and it's a nitpick, but it is annoying. It's not stopping me from playing it. It's not stopping me from enjoying it. But it is annoying. Yeah. Anyway, that's my one complaint. You don't like the music transitions and stuff like that. I don't like that I have to get a dialogue box every time I pick one of those things up. So anyway.
So where are you now, Steve?
I'm about 3 hours in. I've been taking a little more time with it. I think I just completed the third dungeon, which is actually right on par where Jakester is as well. Actually,
how far did you get in the original before you?
I was probably around the, let's see, I can't remember because it's been several years since I played it, but I didn't complete it, but I think I was around maybe the 5th or 6th dungeon. I think in the original. Yeah, so I spent a good amount of time with the game. I didn't give up like after like 30 minutes into it or anything like that. But, yeah.
See, the one thing that I hope isn't lost, and I'm sure it will be because it's just nature of time, is the reveal at the end. And the emotional impact that this game has. And if you've been spoiled and you know what happens, I'm not going to say. But if you don't know, and I don't even know if you know, Steve, but if you don't know, don't spoil it for yourself. But this is it's the equivalent of like watching Sixth Sense in a sense right now. The odds are there's been a meme about it or you've heard what happened, and it ruins the whole experience in a sense, as opposed to, oh, I'm going to go in this fresh and blind. And I don't know if you know the ending of this game at all, or if you know anything about it, Steve. But if you don't, if someone like has going into this blind, they're going to get a better experience than someone who knows what's going on.
Yeah. I actually wish that I didn't know it, and I don't know all the details surrounding it, but I know like the big thing, and I wish that I didn't, because I think I would enjoy it more. Like I'm kind of I'm a little envious of those people that don't know it. It's kind of like when you go into Star Wars and being able to watch the original films and not know like the big reveal there.
Yeah.
But now knowing it, Greg doesn't know what we're talking about.
Oh, I know the big reveal. That's been parodied like 1,000 times.
I know. I just figured I'd get another dig on you because you haven't watched Star Wars. But yeah. So it's kind of like that. I wish I'm envious of those people that are able to play through this and don't really know how it's going to end, because that would be really cool to experience that for the first time.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that pulled me to this game more. And the interesting thing, like as you play this game, the characters all have personalities. The characters, they're not just static in one position. Here they are. Like you beat a dungeon, you come back, they're in a new place. They're in a new adventure. They're living their lives, doing their own thing. They're moving about. They're actually moving between villages on the island, and they feel like Majora's Mask obviously did it too, but that came later. But very few Zelda games really have that. There's some time. Breath of the Wild had some time with the characters, but they had their routine. It was the same thing always. Like you start Breath of the Wild, you go to like Kakariko Village, an NPC is going to take the same path pretty much then, as you know, as opposed to when you're 300 hours in and you come back and they're still doing the same path, unless there's something story related. This is something different, and especially when you factor in that this is a Game Boy game. Like I was talking earlier, and a game is for the Game Boy. A game is a side project. It didn't have a $300 million budget. It was a passion project. It really shows. And these NPCs are some of the best in Zelda history, which is why some of them actually got, honored by being brought back sort of in Ocarina of Time with Talon and Malon versus Marin and Tarin. It's just, even the owl, in Ocarina of Time is clearly brought from Link's Awakening.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. That is the charm of this game, and I think people that are almost kind of feels very similar in a way to the charm of a game like Super Mario RPG. Where it's just like so much charm in that game, and that's one of the reasons, in addition to the gameplay, in addition to the story and all that stuff, just the charm that pulled people in. I feel like Link's Awakening is very much like that, and this one just takes that original thing and heightens it, especially with the graphical style and all the upgrades to the music and everything. It just really draws you in. Greg, are you liking this more than the original, or about the same? What's your thoughts about the comparison?
I seem to be liking it more because it's been pretty much since that, it's been a good 10-15 years or whatever since I played the game. So I haven't been super familiar with the memes or anything, so I don't think I probably don't recall the ending as much as I think I do. So I think I'll probably still get that kind of shock once I get there. So I obviously know the heads up not to really be looking into it as much, but I have really been enjoying it. Though there are parts of the game that I really remember, just playing that stupid trendy game. That's really fun. How they kind of redid some of it. So
yeah, they've added too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they've added quite a bit to this game.
Yeah. And I think that's been cool too, because I don't know about the original. I didn't finish it, of course, but I feel like the original didn't really have a whole lot. I'm sure you could replay through it and everything, but they added a bunch of replayability to this version of it. There's a lot more to go back in there and to 100% it and everything. It involves a lot more, and you're getting additional things, and that's a really cool addition. So it's not just a rehash of the game with just updated graphics and music. It's almost like they've taken it in an enhanced definitive edition of it or something like that.
Well, yeah. I think they had to make sure there's plenty of content to justify the remake of it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's like for example, all 3 mini games in this have been expanded upon. The trendy game has the new statues added to it, which some of them are a pain to get, and there's new rewards to it. The raft game has not only the standard game, but there's also now a race mode where you can race to the finish. And the fishing game used to be just this fun little thing on the side. There's more to it. There's multiple lures. There's the 3 total lures you could switch between. There's multiple fish. Like in the original, there's 2 fish. 2 fish, that's it. And 2 different types of fish. Now, it starts with 2 different types of fish, but there's 5 different types of fish. And some of them are actually cameo fish from other Nintendo properties. And it's just really cool to see that you can literally sit there and fish all day, and it's just a fishing game.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the chamber dungeons, which I'm working through now, and that's a whole new can of worms, really.
Yeah. So let's talk about the chamber dungeons, because I have not explored any of that yet. I've left alone. I want to make through the actual game and everything first, and make that my priority. I've heard some mixed opinions and everything about that. So I'm assuming, Barry, of the 3 of us, you're probably the one that spent the most time with that. Greg, I'm not even sure if you got to a point where you can interact with that portion of the game yet. So what's your opinion about that mode now, Barry?
I can see the positives and the negatives. I'll say that. The negatives stem from mainly, I'd say, repetition. And what I mean by repetition is, you'll have the same tiles over and over and over again if you choose to. Now, the way it works is when you first get to be able to do that, he takes your memories of the dungeons you've completed and composes tiles for them. Assets from each of those dungeons. This includes all 9 dungeons. A colored dungeon is included. That includes the bosses, that includes the entranceways, that includes different rooms throughout the dungeon. Every room pretty much is counted for. Now, there's additional rooms as well. The additional rooms come from multiple ways. One, there's 14 of them to find in the game. Some of them are bought, some of them are won in the games, some of them are rewarded for doing certain tasks. I'm not going to get into how to get them. Some of them, there's also the amiibo. The amiibo will unlock some of the...
this little cute little amiibo right there.
Yes, that's one of them.
Ah, he's so great.
He is. That will unlock them. And then, of course, what happens when you get to that mode, they'll give you some challenges. He'll be like, all right, and the challenges are already much tutorials, but when you complete them, he'll give you a new tile. So there's tiles to unlock as you go through the challenges. The challenges do get progressively harder, and there's rewards for each and every one of them as you do. So it's like Mario Maker, kind of like how when you start off your bare bones with what you can create, and then you have to go through all these tutorials, and when you finish it, you have all this available to you. At least Mario Maker 1, I should specify. Mario Maker 2 had a few things that were unlocked. So I think when everything is unlocked, it's more fun versus, I'm pretty much working to unlocking things. But there are some cool effects you can do. Like that Link amiibo will give you the Dark Link effect. But there's some where you can make a room rain rupees if you want, or you can make one like rain bombs instead. And there's different effects you could put into any of the rooms to change it up. You can actually make some money. You can make a bunch with treasure chests, and then the game seems to know, like, oh, you're probably doing this to make money, so we're going to troll you, and this chest is going to give you 1 rupee, while the next one's going to give you 50. Nice. So it is kind of fun.
You get to keep all that, then you make it there?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
You get to keep every chest, everything you walk away with. So, and you do get a free. Like, people were like when they saw the first thing, like, oh, it's a heart. Like, oh, that's all you can do. Like, no, you can actually do a free creation. But there's challenges as well as you go through. So I do recommend going through the challenges to unlock all of them. I forget what the total number of chambers is. I think it's like 193, I think, after everything's said and done. 193 different chambers. And I think the effects also count in that. But, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, when you factor it in, there's a lot to do. But after a while, you're going to see the same ones. And there's obviously easier paths. Stuff from like the first dungeon will be easier than stuff from the 8th dungeon. I don't know if the final boss is included in this. I did not go to the final boss yet. I just want to go through all these challenges and do all I can before I do it, because I know I can go there and I could be done with the game in 3 minutes right now.
Yeah.
I just want to I want to see what happens with this first beforehand. But yeah, it's a lot. I have a feeling the final boss will be included. I don't know. I didn't read anything, but I have a feeling it will be.
That's cool. So I mean, so what you played, I mean, I've been hearing a lot of different things. It's not necessarily Mario Maker like Zelda Dungeon Maker sort of thing, because it doesn't have the exact same sort of layout and the abilities and all that stuff like that. But is it close enough? Could you say that? Or
I think it's close.
Yeah.
I think the negatives are all the rooms are pre-made, and they're all rooms that you've already been through. So if you play through the game and you're going through, you're like, oh, I already know what to do with this room. Oh, I know about the hidden stuff with this room. And obviously, you can't do as like I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a couple dungeons that get really involved, that really make you think outside the box. And as far as I'm aware, you can't do things like that. Rooms can still have bombable walls and keys and all that stuff, and you can choose which staircases connect to each one. I mean, it is definitely the prototype for a Zelda Maker. hands down.
Yeah.
Zelda Maker would be very involved in Truest, because each room then you would be able to 100% customize, and that would be a lot of work to customize every one of these rooms. So these are just templates done for you. Obviously, the sharing is kind of negative. You can't share online, which would be wonderful, but it's certainly a good proof of concept. And considering that this is all superfluous to the rest of the game, you don't have to do this at all. You won't have all the hearts, you won't get all the seashells, but you can still play through the game and enjoy the game and never touch this. So the fact that this is a bonus mode on top of it makes it great. If they release this just as a standalone $60 Dungeon Maker and it just be exactly this, I think people would feel ripped off, and I probably would feel ripped off. But being that it's just an additional add-on to an already amazing game, it's a bonus in my opinion.
Okay. Greg, if they took this as a prototype and they said, you know what, we're going to learn some stuff as this add-in thing for Link's Awakening, and we're going to take that and we're going to blow it up and make a full-blown Dungeon Maker for Zelda, do you think it'd be a bit as big as Mario Maker, in your opinion?
I definitely think so. I mean, there's always a place for like user-created content type games, and I've seen lots of posts of people asking more for Zelda Maker. I mean, even with the first game, you saw lots of people making like Link-style dungeons using the Link Mario costume, like the costume. So I do think that there's a place for it as long as it's done right. I mean, I haven't seen the mode yet, but I read like the interview on it, and that Miyamoto really wanted like a Mario Maker like element added into this game, and so I think that's definitely the way of testing the water, much like the Captain Toad levels were led to that individual game there. So
yeah, that's true. That's definitely a good point. And I think, and like you said, Nintendo has been, they do have a history of doing this every once in a while, throwing an extra mode in there to kind of test the waters and see how it does. And maybe they'll release a more full-blown version of the game over in the end. I do want to bring out one of the comments Jakester made in there. It says in the chat, it says, what I think is really interesting is that they make the bosses have characteristics and personalities like no other Zelda game, and that's so true. Like they're so much more. They're not just a static boss in this game. There's more personality. I think it comes back to that charm comment I was making earlier. It was like there's so much more to the characters and everything like that in this game. Greg, have you noticed that? And has it made a difference with the new graphical capabilities and everything at this one?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to like a lot of the villagers, and you could definitely see that everything is really like fleshed out, and all the characters were like all had like a personality and everything like that. So yeah, that was definitely very good to see. Yeah,
for sure. I think it's probably safe to say, as far as our recommendation, I think all of us would highly recommend this game. Whether you played the original or not, it's definitely worth getting again, or maybe for the first time. If you have played it, we'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are as well. So make sure you toss those down in the comment section down below, or tweet us, or share in Discord about your thoughts about Link's Awakening for the Nintendo Switch. Any final thoughts or anything about this game before we move on and wrap up for this evening?
No? Play this game.
I can't wait to play more of it.
Yeah,
and to play it tomorrow. So
for sure, I'm so glad my eye is doing better so that I can actually see the screen and play more of it for sure. Jakester says it's a great game, so there you go, done. Buy it. All right, either physical to make Barry happy, or you can get the digital version. Don't tell him I told you to. But you could get the sleeper edition. Yes, that's true. Yeah. You could get that. Yeah. And Nintendo America actually put that out for us. Huh?
Yeah, Nintendo America put that out for us. Except I still had to order the European one, which should be here tomorrow because they got a better edition.
Yeah. That is true, but I think, I mean, the game is great, but this amiibo is, I think this is one of my favorites. Maybe my favorite amiibo that they have put out. He's He's adorable, and like they're getting closer and closer, I feel like, to the amiibo prototypes that they put out in the very beginning when they showed us like what they could look like, and then they like backed off the production value. I feel like they're now getting close to what they actually were in those prototypes now.
You know what's interesting is with all the Zelda amiibo that they put out a lot of different links. And this is the first time that A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening Link gets an amiibo, which is great. It just adds to that list.
Totally.
Or Oracle games too, if you believe the true timeline, and screw Nintendo retconning it out of nowhere for no reason. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all for our main discussion today. We have a couple things still to talk about, but before we wrap up with our final discussion points and everything, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, and also remind you to subscribe, hit the bell to be alerted every time we post a new video here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on your podcast apps of choice. You can also share this with other Nintendo fans. That'd be awesome for you to just kind of get the word out there that we have this podcast, and we have a lot of other videos and everything here on our NintendoFuse YouTube channel. So make sure you do get the word out, and that'd be awesome. But also, what would be awesome is if you join us on social media and Discord. We love talking with you guys. We love hearing about your thoughts about these games and all the Nintendo news and things like that. So make sure you join our Discord and follow us on social media so that you can join that conversation in between episodes. We do have our next episode, before we get in our final topic, we do have our next episode is going to be our big 10th year anniversary. So Nintendo celebrate all these anniversaries this time. We're actually celebrating a big anniversary. The NintendoFuse Podcast is turning 10, actually just in a few days. We're going to celebrate it on our next podcast. That's either going to be on October 7th or 8th. We may actually be switching days that we record to Tuesdays. So actually, we probably get ready to make the decision really, really soon, but we would love to hear your comments about that. So toss that in the chat and the comments and everything. What are your thoughts about if we were to switch to a Tuesday recording time? Would it be okay with you? Would that mess with your schedule, or you're like, hey, I don't really care, just record it and get it to us? So we'd love to know your thoughts about that as well. But anyhow, Let's talk about what we're excited about over the next couple weeks. I know we're going to be playing more Zelda Link's Awakening. I know we're going to be at least I'm going to be playing some more Rocket League. But what else are you guys excited about playing? Let me run through some big games that I just want to draw your attention, because I know Barry just like gets whatever games show up on his doorstep. He didn't know when they're coming out half the time. He just like, hey, they're all coming to me. Just bring them all. I'll get them eventually. But some big games coming out even tomorrow. Dead by Daylight and Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 is coming out tomorrow. 25th is Mario Kart Tour on mobile devices. And then September 27th, we got FIFA 20, the Legacy Edition. I just wanted to point that out because I just wanted to make fun of EA one more time. Legacy Edition, are you kidding me? Anyhow, also on September 27th, maybe the better thing that's releasing on September 27th are count them, 4 Dragon Quest games. We're getting, of course, 11S, Echoes and Elusive Age Definitive Edition, one of the longest titles ever. But we're also getting Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 all on the same day. October 1st, we're getting Sniper Elite 3 Ultimate Edition. I know that there's some big fans of the Sniper Elite series. Ghostbusters Remastered's coming on October 4th. Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, something I'm looking forward to, on October 8th. And Asphalt 9. Coming over from mobile, Asphalt 9 Legends is coming out for free on October 8th. So maybe some of those games, maybe some other ones that you're excited about. Barry, how about we go to you first? What are you most excited about over the next couple weeks?
Well, obviously the biggest title will be definitely Dragon Quest 11 for me. I absolutely loved the demo. I played through to completion. I can't wait to go back to that save file and continue, because it's just starting to get good, and it's like, oh, end of the demo. I'm like, no. So yeah, that's another one. Like, if you are on the fence, or you never played a Dragon Quest game before, you're not sure if you like it, play that demo. It's 8 hours long. That's more than enough time to know whether you'll like it or not. And if you do like it, again, the save data will carry over. My favorite, absolute favorite kind of demo. Another game I'm really looking forward to, which comes out tomorrow, and it was not on your list, Steve, not on your list, is AI, the Summonin Files.
Right.
That's done by the team behind the Zero Escape series, which I absolutely love. I think that's one of the greatest game series out there in terms of storytelling, and I'm really looking forward to diving into this. I don't know if I'm going to try to complete it before Dragon Quest or if I'm just going to try and save it for after, because there's still some other previous games I wanted to go back to, like Oninaki, which I didn't get a chance to do. Those are probably the two absolute biggest games like on the list. Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3, of course, great games. I played them originally, and I'll be getting the physical when it comes over because there is an Asian physical. Yooka-Laylee, The Impossible Lair, also looks amazing. I'm really excited for that one, and I'll probably mess around with Mario Kart Tour. Will it pull me away from Dragalia Lost? I doubt it, especially since 2 days later is the 1-year anniversary, and they're planning a bunch of stuff. But I got it pre-ordered, so it's gonna appear on my phone out of nowhere. So I'll be like one of those. Oh, let me try this. I'll see how bad it is.
It's gonna pop up no matter what. I'm realizing I was looking at the Nintendo's website. It didn't have AI listed, and that's why I was like, how did I forget about this game? It wasn't in their the list that's coming out on September 24th.
Which is weird because it's coming tomorrow.
That's weird. That is really weird.
In fact, I got my shipping confirmation already.
Interesting. All right, Greg, what are you excited about over the next couple weeks?
Definitely all the Dragon Quest games.
You play all of the Dragon Quest.
Yeah, so they didn't do 1, 2, and 3 on the 3DS here, so it was like I was kind of bummed that I didn't get a chance to play those. So definitely excited to pick them up on Switch now. So I'm very glad that they localized them. I was like researching am I gonna have to order this off Play Asia? Am I gonna be able to buy it from the Japanese eShop? And then right when I was getting all that stuff figured out, I saw a thing come up saying they're releasing them here in the North American. I was like, yes, finally. So definitely excited.
Get the physical.
I don't think they're releasing physical here, are they?
Not here, but in Asia, and it's in English.
Nice.
Owen Dragon Quest physical. It's worth it.
Hey, Barry, I just want to let you know. I'm going to interrupt Greg for a second. I just wanted to let you know, just to help you sleep well at night. I did pick up the physical of Link's Awakening. Here it is, right here. So, yeah. There's certain games, and Greg and I think share mostly the same opinion on this. There's certain ones that we need to have physical with, but a lot of them are digital. But yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is because I wish they would do one for here in North America because I do have 4, 5, and 6 and 9 all physical.
You have 7 and 8 as well, right, on the 3DS physical?
Yeah, actually I do 7 and 8. Yep, I forgot about those for a second.
So you need to have 1, 2, and 3 physical. I'm assuming you're getting 11 physical, so you have the whole set physical.
Yeah, that's why they need to release a North American version. I want to pay $100 just for them to ship it over.
It's not that bad. But Square Enix hates America. Oninaki even got in the European store. The Square Enix European store was like, "Hey, we have a version over here, 3,000 copy limited." And I emailed them. I said, "Hey, can I purchase from your store?" Because Square North America doesn't give a crap. And they told me, buy it from a scalper. We don't ship to America. Buy it from a scalper. What? Square doesn't care.
No, not at all. Wow.
So, I do have 1 and 3 physical on the NES, but...
Yeah. You could have them on the Game Boy Color as well. They put them, at least 3. They definitely did 3 physical on the Game Boy Color.
There you go. You can get your collection in the Game Boy Color. You have to buy those from a scalper probably now too. So
yeah. But probably the only other one on the list I would be looking at is Mario Kart Tour. I've heard pretty negative things about it, but I'll still want to check it out, being a Mario Kart fan. And
hey, it's free.
See, yeah.
So, Greg, did you are you getting Dragon Quest 11?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Did you play the demo?
No, I just want to go into it blind and do it awesome, full on.
That's what it is. The demo is the game. It's the first 8 hours of the game.
You just played early.
It's not. It's literally the first 8 hours, and you could start it now. Like after Link's Awakening, you could start it in advance.
Well, it's only 4 days away, and I can probably just play it. See how much of Link's Awakening and get done before then.
Yeah. Oh, you'll finish it before then. It's not a terribly long game.
Yeah.
I know, but 4 days sounds like a lot of time, but that's only like 4 hours of time.
It's a lot of time you can play in Link's Awakening instead. So.
You can play portably. Come on, you play on the commute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like 4 hours of correct time, like over 4 days.
Would you rather? Here you go, Barry. Would you rather him play Dragon Quest XI demo or Xenoblade?
Oh, that's an easy option. Xenoblade, of course.
Oh, there you go. Okay, Xenoblade. Greg,
we have their decisions made.
Link's Awakening. See?
Ooh, wow.
All right, then I'll take that recommendation. I'll play Link's Awakening.
Be an interesting Game of the Year stuff this year, for sure. I'm interested to see how Barry's list eventually shapes out. So
got a couple months and still more things coming out.
I know. Let's see. What am I excited for? I'm gonna get, of course, Mario Kart Tour. It's Mario Kart. It's free. It's on mobile. I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it that much. I still think it's weird that it's vertical. That's so odd. But I'm like, I wanna whatever. But maybe I'll enjoy it. Who knows? I'm planning on, as soon as I get done with a good chunk of Link's Awakening and check out the demo of Dragon Quest, because I haven't yet, but I'll definitely be checking it out. And I love the fact that you can play 8 hours of the game to decide, like, I'll definitely know by 8 hours in if I want to pay a full price of this game or not. That's so awesome, which is also a testament of how much game time is in the full thing if 8 hours is free. Like, it's crazy. I said earlier too, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. I was excited about the first one, but I never even actually got it. But I think I really like the graphical style they went with, the 2D, kind of like Donkey Kong Country. I think I'm gonna enjoy that game a lot. And I'll probably download Asphalt 9 Legends because it's also free, and hey, why not? Free game. But we'll see how that goes. So. All right, well, that brings us to the end of another amazing podcast. Episode 183 is in the bag, and 184 is coming in just a couple weeks again. We'll stay tuned to our social media, stay tuned to our Discord and our site and everything, and we'll let you know if we're actually going to be shooting for Monday or Tuesday recording time for that. So that'll either be on October 7th or on October 8th. We're going to have some special guests that day, and we got some different things planned. I won't spoil anything or anything that kind of gives away what we're doing, but I do want to say make sure you are tuned in, especially if you've been a long-time listener and viewer of the NintendoFuse podcast. You'll definitely want to make sure that you are tuned in for episode 184. But until then, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for chatting with us tonight. Thanks for talking games, Barry and Greg. It's always great to chat about Nintendo with you guys.
Always a pleasure.
Yep, agreed. Always great.
So have a great night, guys.
Yep, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Take care.